Hey everybody, it's Dana. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be sharing a technique with you because I was asked a lot about this technique. So this is a card that I had posted on Instagram and everybody was raving about the waves that I had on this card. So I made these waves using Waves on the Border die from Technique Tuesday, and I'm going to quickly share with you how this all came together. Now, all you need to do is grab yourself some paper. I'm using a Bristol paper today. And grab yourself some oxide inks. You can use regular distress inks. I just prefer oxide inks because I like the creaminess to these. So I just have three colors here. I have Salty Ocean, Mermaid Lagoon, and Peacock Feathers. And this is going to allow me to build up a lot of that color variation because that's what we would see in water in the ocean. We would not see just like a flat color blue. We would see multiple shades of blue. So I'm using my blending tool and I'm really going to put this down heavily. I'm going to add a lot of color here. Now, if you did not want to use distress oxide inks or regular oxide inks, you can also watercolor your background. It's totally up to you how you want to do this technique. So I just put down one shade and now I'm going to, like I said, start building up those colors. So now I'm going to come in with the Salty Ocean, and that is a little bit darker than that Mermaid Lagoon. So it's going to give me like a heavy, nice heavy blue color along the bottom. Now remember when you're working with Distress Oxide inks, for me anyway, on the Bristol paper, it really is smooth, a smooth application. I find that for me, this paper works the best with my Distress Oxide inks. Now, I also use the regular Neenah paper, the 110 pound. I prefer better for blending this because once I blend it, I always want to spritz it with water. And if I spritz it with water on a lighter cardstock, it kind of bows a lot. All right, so now I have down a couple more of my shades. I put a little bit of that Peacock Feathers along the top because my water will be lighter across the top compared to on the bottom. Now I would say if you're going to do this, make sure you put tape or you hold down the paper with the paper that you're blending on with another piece of paper so your fingers don't get inky like mine did. So I'm just making sure to blend all of that out, so just so I have a good variation of blue. Now since I have down most of the color that I'm going to want on this, I'm going to grab my spritzer. And I'm just going to spritz, and of course this just makes everything look prettier. I'm really going a little bit heavy-handed with this because I want you to see like there could be waves in the ocean and little cascades of white. So I'm blotting that up. Now you can see it gets a lot lighter once I start lifting it up with the water, but it also becomes a lot creamier. I am going to go back in with my Mermaid Lagoon and just darken up the bottom just a little bit. Okay, now since I have the color like I want it and it looks very oceanally, is that a word? I don't know. I'm going to make sure that I heat set this. And this is just to keep the bottom panel as smooth and as flat as I possibly can without warping it too much. Now here comes the fun part. I have my Waves on the Border die, and I'm going to first show you what this is going to look like if you just cut it out once and it was just a border on your card panel. Now this is such a very unique design, and look how beautiful that is. But now we want to step this up a notch because we want additional waves. So I went ahead and die cut out more waves right across all that blue. Now all I need to do is trim down these pieces. And what I'm really going to be looking to do is just to get out those additional waves. So I'm not really cutting through anything at this point. I'm just trimming out the additional waves that I die cut in. So you can see I have a wave there. And now I'm going to trim out this one until I just leave that last wave in place. Now here comes the cool part. With one of the waves I cut out, I'm just taking my scissors and I'm fussy cutting around the border of that wave. So as you can see here, I'm just very gently going around the outline of the wave. Now this can be thick or thin, totally up to you how wide you want your wave to be. Just make sure not to cut through any of those open areas, because then your wave is not going to be one whole piece. So very easily just trim right around it with a pair of scissors right to the end. Now this is what's going to start building up that dimension on my card panel. So as I clip this away, you're going to see I have a wave. Super easy, right? So now since I have another piece of paper that's already been die cut and I have a wave across the top, I'm leaving that wave in place. Now I have the first wave that I made that I left on the bottom of that cardstock. That was the initial wave I had to start making the card. I'm gluing this down to the top piece that was left over. And I'm only putting glue across the bottom and the top of the die, not that thin area in the middle. I want to leave that unglued, because if I glue that down, I cannot put any critters or all of the octopus. I can't put anything in between there if I glue all that down. So right here, I'm just lining everything up so it matches. I'm not worried about the end piece because I'm going to trim that off later. And now I'm just going to press my wave in place. And now, as you can see, I have a little build up here, just a tad bit of a build up, creating some waves. Next, I'm going to come in with a wave I totally cut out, and I could start adhering that anywhere I want on this base part. Now, I am leaving that wave across the top. We're going to cut that off a little bit later. So again, I'm just using some glue here, and I like to use glue instead of like an adhesive runner because this is so intricate. I don't really want to have all that adhesive everywhere. Again, here you see I'm only putting glue at the bottom part of the wave. This allows me to still have some movement in the top part, again, to stick in my little critters. So I'm going to place this one towards the bottom. And I'm just going to smooth that in place. And now we have multiple waves on the card. So look how cool that is. It gives you so much dimension. All right, now because I didn't glue anything down, look at there. I have space now to move my little waves to stick in my little friends. Okay, now what I want to do is trim off that top part. So I have just a regular wave like I have here in this card. You see, I just have like a little wave across the top. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to fussy cut out that wave. Again, I'm being careful not to splice through anything and everything. I'm just going around this one, and I'm not even being perfect with this one because this here is just going to be the top part of my waves. So can you see that? It's totally cute across the top now. It just looks like regular waves. Now I'm just grabbing some more glue, and I'm going to glue this down to the base, or rather to my card panel. So you see I have just a nice little wave across the top, and then I have all those waves in the middle now. So I'm just going to line that up, make sure I'm straight, and then I can just take my scissors and chop off, or trim off rather, the rest of that excess that I don't need on my card base. Okay, so that is how you can make the triple waves on your cards using that one waves on the border die from Technique Tuesday. All right, everybody, so here is a card I made before. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them below, and I'll link all the products as well. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.